Now here's a quick brain teaser. What is the richest, the ritziest union in Australia? It's a bit of a difficult one, but we'll give you the answer. It is the Business Council of Australia. It is the union of Australia's top chief executives. They whinge a lot. They whinge even more than most unions whinge, and they whinge on two fronts. Taxes are too high for companies, and wages are too high as well. They need to be brought down. Flexible working conditions. Those are the two immutable principles of the BCA, Australia's richest union, the Union of Chief Executives, the Business Council of Australia, which is basically majority, if you looked at the shareholdings and partnerships and so on involved, would be majority foreign owned. So your eyes may have glazed up. You may have seen it this week, but there is no doubt if you did, your eyes will have glazed over because the BCA had its big gala event, its big BCA annual dinner on Tuesday night, and they just don't. They really take these things seriously. It's a huge PR push. The day before, in the finance press, and Rupert Murdoch's The Israeli and the Australian Fossil Fuel Review, they had splashes about what was just about to happen. Oh, Albo was shirt-fronted. He was about to be shirt-fronted by Australia's business leaders, proclaimed The Israeli, while the AFFR, the Australian Fossil Fuel Review, made similar noises, and the Herald too. Oh, the Herald was carrying on about, how unhappy the business people were. Whinge and whine and carry on as they do. This is the apogee, the zenith, of course, of the year of whinging and whining because it's the annual dinner. Black tie event at the Hyatt Regency in Sydney. Having been to these sort of things before, I used to try to refuse to go to them. Even as a business editor, they used to say, come on, you've got to go. This is the Business Council of Australia. And I just say to the editor-in-chief, look, mate, I don't like going to PR events. He said, it's not PR, it's a Business Council of Australia. I said, exactly, it's PR. And they really work that PR. So the day before, these headlines about what was going to come out, they hogged the front pages, the major newspapers, and then, of course, hit the headlines. The guts of it is that business, big business, you've got to listen to them, they are unhappy with Albo. They're pissed off because Albo isn't doing enough for them, and they're particularly pissed off at Tony Burke because of Tony's same job, same pay, Labor laws. So they don't like that. We've got a story coming on BHP's $2 billion wage theft from its coal workers. You can't legally employ casual workers. We've done one on that already, and we've got a big update on that. They are in the thick of it, and they are screaming from the rooftops about how unjust it is that they have to pay their workers more despite record profits from the commodity boom. BHP, like the big banks, does pay a lot of tax. Some of these people do. You can't nail them on the tax front too much, but you can get them on this whining about paying workers too much. And so they were tut-tutting, they were carrying on, and the major press ran their whining and gnashing of teeth all week about how terrible things were for them, and that nobody was taking any notice of what they were crying about. Well, why would you? Because this is precisely the problem. You see, the politicians and bureaucrats, they've been listening to the business lobbies, the AI Group and the Minerals Council of Australia and ARPIA and all these lobbies for years. And guess what? They've been sucked in. Then later in the week, Harvey Norman's extended warranty scam came out, and that wasn't particularly good PR for the BCA, the Chief Executives Union, because, of course, here was Harvey Norman, massive, wrought on all his customers, the extended warranty wrought. Well, big business. Wailing now about why the government won't listen to them enough. The problem is the government is on an extended warranty from big business, and big business has failed to deliver. Because you see, governments successively over many years have been putting in big business policies. They've been lowering the corporate tax rate. They've been creating more flexible working conditions. More flexible, of course, for those that aren't au fait with this, simply means lower wages and conditions. So they've been doing exactly what business wants. Keeping wages low, dragging the chain on environment stuff, and of course, dropping the corporate tax rate. It used to be 70% in Australia. when Australia used to do better on the growth front back in the 1950s and 60s. That was the corporate tax rate. They've got it down to 30 and they're still whinging, to be competitive, we've still got to get it down further. This race to the bottom. No, they don't. They're just ripping all the profits from exporting our minerals and they're taking them offshore. Look at Norway. So it's kind of funny. This extended warranty, but the Business Council has given them the warranty. If you cut taxes, it will be better for Australians, all Australians, because there'll be a trickle down and all Australians will benefit. It'll be a trickle down and more employment, more jobs. Trickle down. Well, it's never trickled down. The result of following BCA policies, being on this extended warranty from the Harvey Norman of lobby groups, the problem is they bought the dummy and businesses acting really cheesed off now, demanding and getting the media mates to run these front page whinges about Albo Daily. Problem is they've completely lost their way. Neoliberalism doesn't work. And yes, the trickle down has worked. It's trickled down to the top 20% who own all the shares and who've got the assets. That's what the BCA has done. It's never put up anything in terms of real reform because their reform propaganda is trickle down economics. It's like waving the crucifix at Count Dracula, this new labour laws thing. All these handmaidens in the financial press, this labour laws stuff. Oh no, heaven forbid. Oh, labour laws that they pay workers more. Of course, if they pay workers more, it's pretty common sense that working people are going to spend more. Economic velocity, it'll make the economy go better. See, this is the other problem, immigration. This is why the immigration has been let on the loose. Because politicians love it because it props up the GDP, their growth figures, not on a per capita basis, but that's not how they measure it. And big business loves a lot of immigration. Why? Quite simple. Lower wages. Simple as that. So they don't get the settings right. They don't say, yes, immigration's good, but let's just keep it at a nice level, manage it properly. They go, just ship it in. It's better for us. Now here they are, advocating the way government should be conducting its business on behalf of all Australians. Oh, Westacott, the last one. They've got this guy Bran, somebody or other, as in all bran or sort of breakfast cereal now. He's come out of nowhere. He's not a former CEO like Westacott or one of these people. He's obviously just a good lobbyist PR dude. Obviously tells a good speech, you know. Anyway, Bran was carrying on in indignation about how the government could do so much more. Albo was at the big dinner, of course, with the slather of Labor dignitaries. And the Libs, of course, went AWOL. They weren't even there. As Miriam Robin, our mate on the AFR, pointed out, she said the more of the Liberal top brass went to Gina Ridehart's birthday party than went to the BCA. So they know where their big donations are coming from. If you look at all this advice they've given to government towing the line with what business wants with tax cuts and so on, they have been the problem because they've been bailed out now twice in a big way by taxpayers, thanks to governments. GFC, 2008, 2009, bang, when Wall Street claimed, we need money to bail out Wall Street or the whole economy's going to be in terrible trouble. So Macquarie Bank and the Big Four went cap in hand here, and now the banks are backed by us. They can't go bust. We underpin their risk. It's not capitalism, it's crony capitalism. And then COVID, of course, with Joshi Frydenberg forks out $80 billion, no clawback mechanism. $40 billion of it went to big businesses which did not need it. Mirvac and Co, Lend-Lease, getting the construction boom riches, the media companies, which benefited from higher revenues because people are sitting in front of their televisions more during lockdown. No clawback. A handout of $40 billion as they blew the Australian budget through the stratosphere. That's big business for you. We'll just take what we can get. We're not into capitalism, we're into crony capitalism. Just give us a corporate welfare state. Transfer money from ordinary working Australians. Transfer it to us big businesses. And that's what they do. They are a lobby group. The Chief Executives Union, the BCA and the Minerals Council, they're a lobby group. That's what they do. That's what they're meant to do. And what politicians are meant to do is stand up for us, of course. Where is the BCA on the housing stuff, for instance? They're right. In Brand's speech, he identified that housing was a terrible problem for younger Australians. The settings were wrong. But where has the BCA been over the years? With calling for high immigration, ignoring things like AML-CTF legislation, CGT, negative gearing, foreign buyers, foreign capital pouring into Australian real estate and property markets, the fall off in the government's spend on social housing. They don't want to spend on social housing because they want tax cuts for big business who are their members. Why are we listening to these people? Got to get away from it. But there they all were, the Labor people in their swanky frocks and their black ties, smiling for the cameras, with the creme de la creme of workers, the highest paid workers in the country, the chief executives who are so out of touch that, what could they possibly have to say apart from industry-specific stuff? In any case, the politicians bow down. Matt Coman from CBA was having a huge cry, saying critics of the government, critics of big business, this was really toxic, he said. And of course the AFFR and the Israeli took him at face value. Oh, really bad, Greens and critics and lefty Labor. What do they call them again? Leftists who don't get nearly as much welfare money as the rightists do. Matt Coman having a huge cry about critics of business. Why should there not be critics of business? Harvey Norman, massive class action for an extended warranty scam on its customers. The banks, the Banking Royal Commission, the banks, systemic corruption, selling product to dead people, rorting in financial planning, overcharging people, systemically, frauds all over the place. What about the market rigging fraud, the BBSW stuff from the banks where they had to pay a bit of a fine? All four of them are involved. What about the AML money laundering breaches where, pedophiles in Thailand are getting money on the cheap secretly without it being noticed because Westpac wasn't enforcing its AML CTF laws. CBA, hundreds of thousands of breaches of the law. Little fine for that. What about the big bill? What about PwC? A global treason scam, a fraud, making money from selling tax secrets to American multinationals. What do they get? What have they got? They got like a $50,000 fine or something. Got a little bit of a rebuking in the Senate from good old Barbara Pocock and co, but what's the penalty for massive frauds? And here they are, in their black ties, saying, you must listen to us. Why do you not listen to us as much? Do you know who we are? Yeah, we know who you are. Your reputation is not good. Despite the hundreds of millions that collectively you spend on public relations, you own the newspapers with your advertising and with your lobbying. And you just ride through all these things and get huge government handouts as well. So there it is. It's worked for the top end. The trickle-down has worked for the top end. All the scandals. Think over that. To the big coal quality assurance scandal. Faking the quality of Australian coal. Everyone involved in that one. James Hardie. Hospitals flogged to the Cayman Islands. The JobKeeper orgy. The sale of the electricity grid, the privatisations to Hong Kong billionaires so they can rip us off from overseas. KPMG's mass cheating scandal. And all the banking failures. And they have no right, basically. So governments has got to stop listening to these guys. They won't. They'll still go to their fancy dinners and be swayed by them. They have no votes, but they have a huge say. The Minerals Council and APIA, the Australian petroleum producers, they are the worst given what they do to the climate. And we have a second instalment in BHP and its $2.5 billion wage theft case coming soon while it's whinging about having to pay workers too much. We're going to blow the lid on that any day now. So that's about it. Thank you for your support. Please like, share and comment in the section below, and thank you for your support. And never believe anything that you read in the corporate media. It may be true, yes, it may be true, but it's just as likely. It is just as likely to be untrue. So that's why we appreciate your support here at the West Report and on the website. Keep it up if you can. Everyone's going through hard times at the moment, as we are. So let's keep it going. Let's keep punching on.